There's no point in doing anything unless you do it 100%. And, you know, there's not a lot of things in my life that I'm that confident with, but when it comes to music, you know, I just have to push myself out.
Enfield, North London. To most, just another ordinary suburb. But for Amy Jade Winehouse, it was the beginning of something extraordinary. The unlikely setting of a voice the world would never forget. She was born on September 14th, 1983.
She used to look at me when she was a little baby. I remember looking at her and thinking, there's something about you that's different. She was just too astute. She'd been here before, okay.
Into a modest Jewish household. Her mother Janice working long hours as a pharmacist. Her father Mitch driving a cab by night and singing Sinatra by day. But those everyday sounds changed when Amy was 9, the year her parents divorced. She split her time between her mother's flat in North London and her father's place in Essex. The separation wasn't just a family shift. It echoed through her lyrics for years to come. Heartache, instability, longing, they all began there. But Amy's life was never going to be ordinary. In her home, music wasn't a hobby, it was a legacy. Her uncles were jazz musicians. Her grandmother had once dated Ronnie Scott, the legendary jazz saxophonist and club owner. That wasn't trivia, it was her inheritance. Amy didn't discover jazz, she inhaled it. While other kids were glued to MTV or chasing boy bands, Amy was absorbing Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan, Thelonious Monk. Her voice, deep, husky, mournful, was already in her bones before she ever sang a note. School never fit Amy, and Amy never tried to fit school. Asaj, primary, Ashmole secondary, even Jewish Sunday school, they tried to teach her rules, but she had her own syllabus. At 10 years old, while classmates obsessed over Britney Spears, Amy formed a rap duo called Sweet and Sour with her friend Juliet. Their biggest influence, not the Spice Girls, but Salt and Peppa. Even then, she was chasing something real, unfiltered expression, rhythm, truth. At 11, Amy got her first guitar. That's when everything changed. She wasn't just a listener anymore, she was a creator. Not long after, she joined the National Youth Jazz Orchestra, where her voice stunned seasoned musicians. She wasn't just a teenager who could sing, she was an old soul trapped in young lungs. She applied to the prestigious Sylvia Young Theatre School, known for polishing Britain's next big stars. But Amy wasn't there to be polished. She got expelled reportedly for wearing a nose ring and refusing to play by the rules. But you see, Amy wasn't rebellious just for the sake of it. She simply couldn't be anyone else but herself. And that kind of authenticity, it's rare, it's dangerous, and brilliant. She found a new home at the Brit School for Performing Arts and Technology, a place more open to her wild heart and sharp wit. At 16, demo tapes of Amy's songs began to float through the music industry. They weren't polished, but they were real. Her voice had gravity, her lyrics had grit, and her charm was magnetic. By 2002, she was signed to Island Records. The girl who once scribbled rhymes in class was suddenly being handed a microphone that reached the world. In 2003, Amy released her debut album, Frank, a genre-bending cocktail of jazz, hip-hop, and soul. Critics loved it. She won the Ivor Novello Award for Stronger Than Me, but in a moment that defined her forever, Amy casually admitted in an interview, "I don't even own a copy of Frank." That wasn't diva behavior. That was Amy being Amy raw, brutally honest, and never satisfied with half-truths. She wasn't interested in being a product. She was interested in being honest, even if it made people uncomfortable. And that honesty would be both her superpower and her curse. Then came 2006, Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. It wasn't just an album, it was a storm of confession, a cry in the dark, teaming up with Salaam Remi and Mark Ronson. Amy reached into the deepest corners of her soul and poured out pain, love, addiction, and fury, every note bleeding with truth. Rehab, with its unforgettable "No, No, No," wasn't a gimmick. It was a reality, a refusal, a reflection. While the world danced, Amy was struggling to stay alive. Her relationship with Blake Fielder, the man she both adored and suffered for, fueled much of the heartbreak in her songs. He introduced her to heroin. Their love was combustible, chaotic, toxic, but also, to her, real. Behind the drugs and alcohol, Amy was also silently battling something more insidious, an eating disorder. She had suffered from bulimia since her teens, a struggle her brother Alex later said may have weakened her body beyond repair.
When she was probably 15, she one day said, "I've got this really great diet, Mum. I eat what I want, and then I just bring it all up."
I know I'm a pig. I know I'm a pig.
It wasn't just the substances that drained her. It was years of self-punishment done in silence. In 2008, Amy made history.
And the Grammy goes to Amy Winehouse.
Five Grammys: Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best New Artist. She joined legends, but she wasn't there in person. She was barred from entering the US due to drug-related charges. So she accepted her awards from a satellite stage in London, trembling and smiling, alone. And then, things fell apart. The paparazzi didn't just follow Amy, they fed on her. Rehab stints, drug footage, court dates, canceled tours. Her pain became a public spectacle. At Glastonbury, fans watched in silence as Amy stumbled on stage, slurring lyrics that once came from her bones. She wasn't just struggling with addiction, she was battling the world's gaze. Her worst moments were never private. As Pitchfork later wrote, Amy Winehouse was the first real casualty of the internet era. By 2011, Amy was barely performing. Her final concerts were painful to witness, not because she was talentless, but because she was lost. And then came July 23rd, Amy was gone. The cause? Alcohol poisoning. Her blood alcohol level was over 0.4%, 5 times the legal limit. She was just 27. Another soul added to the tragic mythology of the 27 Club, with Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Kurt Cobain. But Amy wasn't a myth. She was real messy, brilliant, heartbreakingly human. The world mourned. Camden turned into a shrine. Fans sobbed in the streets. Not just because a pop star had died, but because a truth teller had been silenced. Her brother Alex, who was perhaps the person who knew her most intimately, became a quiet steward of her legacy. He helped curate museum exhibits, co-wrote a biography, and now serves as creative director for her foundation. In Amy's absence, he gives shape to her story, not just the tragedy, but the full picture. Her father, Mitch, remembered her as a giver who saw the best in everybody. And maybe that's what broke her. She saw too much, felt too deeply. In 2014, a bronze statue was unveiled in Camden Market. Amy, hand on hip, beehive towering, wearing her Star of David necklace. Strong, still unforgettable. Her family launched the Amy Winehouse Foundation, supporting young people struggling with addiction and mental health. The girl who couldn't be saved is now saving others.
I miss my real mom, because she's dead as well.
Even after her death, she continued to speak. Her posthumous album, Lioness, Hidden Treasures, gave us one last glimpse into her evolving voice. Playful, haunting, tender, a reminder of what could have been. In her final recordings, like her duet with Tony Bennett, her voice cuts like velvet. Tony once said she had the gift, the soul of a true jazz singer. Artists like Adele, Lana Del Rey, Sam Smith, they've all said the same thing. Without Amy, I wouldn't be here. She brought soul back into pop, vulnerability back into music. She reminded us that real stories don't need auto-tune. Years earlier, the documentary Amy by Asif Kapadia had already shown the world a raw, unfiltered portrait of her rise and unraveling. It won an Oscar not because it mythologized her, but because it refused to do so. In 2024, Amy's story returned to the screen. Back to Black, directed by Sam Taylor Johnson, brought her spirit to a new generation. Some called it romanticized, but others saw the truth. A portrait of a woman trying to hold on to herself in a world that only wanted pieces. Amy Winehouse made only 2 studio albums, but those albums hold more raw emotion, more soul, more truth than most artists give in a lifetime.
I don't care about what you got, I want it all.
She wasn't perfect. She didn't want to be. She wanted to be real. And in the end, maybe that's what broke her. But it's also what made her immortal. She didn't want to be famous. She just wanted to be heard. And we're still listening. Today, even her legacy is contested. Friends, family, lawyers, all have their versions of who Amy was and what should be done with what she left behind. But if Amy taught us anything, it's that no one can own the truth. Not even after you're gone.
I want people to hear my voice and just forget their troubles for 5 minutes. I want to be remembered for just being me.
Supposed to lead the way.